Hey everybody, welcome to Review with Me, your review guide of shows, movies, and everything in between. Be sure to click the like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get on with this review. Hey y'all, we are back with another review episode of The Later Dater Season 1, and this is episode 3 that I am reviewing. So, as I said in the last episode, it wraps up basically with Pam pretty much bombing the date that she was on. I think his name is Jonathan. So the start of episode 3 wraps that all up. We hear more of his feedback of how she did not inquire anything about him. You know, she wasn't showing interest, she wasn't showing engagement with what he was sharing on the date, and he said himself that they're just completely opposite and it's just not going to work out. So when he left, she, of course, Pam, has to FaceTime Logan, the dating coach, and give a quick debrief. And as she's debriefing to Logan about the date, she's sharing how she felt a lot of nervousness. And when she's nervous, she tends to babble a lot. And that's something that I could definitely relate to. I know how it feels to let your energy be overwhelming to the point where it may be annoying to the other person. And it's not like you're trying to be annoying. It's just that you are nervous or you're overwhelmed, or you want to fill in the space that's too quiet, so you're over talking, or something like that. So I understand. They definitely weren't a great match anyway. She's talking about quote unquote conspiracy theories, and I'm saying that quote unquote because I believe in conspiracy theories. Hello. But she's more of this fantastical, very deep thinker approach, while he's very much black and white. So yeah, it just wasn't gonna work out. Okay, so now we get to Anise and Nate. Remember, they went on a date. Oh, that rhymes. Okay, bars. Yeah, they went on a date, and it was just it just wasn't. It wasn't going further. Okay, it wasn't going any further beyond that first date. And that's simply because Anise is more of an active person. She likes to be outside, while Nate is a homebody. That is what he describes himself as. And Anise said on that day that when she would be on dating apps and it's listed that the guy is a homebody, she would instantly swipe left or right, whichever one is the one that says no thank you. So Anise is back home and she's talking to her daughter about the date. Again, she is very mature in how she debriefs the date with her daughter. She's not quick to be like, girl, this nigga was, very mature. She immediately starts off with a compliment, or multiple compliments. She was very pleased with the fact that he gave her a bouquet of flowers, yellow roses in particular, because apparently yellow means friendship. Now, you know how people just know the meaning of certain things, and I feel like, why would you have that in your brain repertoire? Like, why do people know, oh, red roses mean love, yellow means flower, white means hope? I don't know, like, why do y'all just know that? That's just so weird to me. Just like with the whole angel numbers, well, 222 means someone's looking at you. 333 means watch your back. 444 means try it again. Like, it's like, what do y'all, how do y'all remember stuff like that? Like, why is that something that you need to know at all times and you just remember? Just like with zodiac signs, like, I know my main one, right? I'm an Aquarius, so I know that, but I always have to remind myself, wait, what's my rising sign again? What's my moon sign? All these extra things. Anyway, let's move on. So what's his name? Nate, he's debriefing with his ex-girlfriend, Jackie, and he's just sharing how, yeah, she's a beautiful woman. Anise is a beautiful woman, but she's just not for me. I don't really have that romantic chemistry with her. And she is older than what I desire. I desire younger women. That is what Nate says. And I think he's fair for that. Remember, he is 56, I believe, and Anissa's 63. So, I mean, it's not a stark difference, but you are entitled to have your preferences. I don't think that makes him a bad guy for that. I feel like it's fair that he is standing on what he desires. So, Jackie is sitting on pins and needles, trying her best to not interrupt him as he's speaking. And finally, he wraps up what he's saying, and she's like instantly with the questions. I forget what questions she asked him, but I remember she says, oh man, it's hard for me to be quiet while you're talking because I have to say what I want to say because I'm going to forget. And I totally relate to that. Like, I cut people off sometimes, maybe too much. Yeah, sometimes too much. But nonetheless, something that I'm working on. Nonetheless, I really like that moment. Back to Anise and her daughter, Dawana. I forget. Yeah, I think that's her. That's how you say her name. What happened? Okay, so her daughter saying, if you liked him, then you should have reached out to him. You should have texted him first. You should have initiated a follow-up date. But Anissa is standing on the fact that that's not her position in life. She allows the man to be the man, and she trusts that, with men of her caliber and men of her age bracket, they typically are the ones who would make the first move, would make it known that they're interested in moving forward with you. So she doesn't want to do that. But her daughter's like, okay, but if you're not even open to it, you're coming with this in this boomer approach, and you're, basically shooting down her mom's ideals when it comes to the initial dynamics between a man and a woman who's dating each other. And I really appreciate how Anise stood strong on her principles. I feel like, look, I think it's so easy for the younger generation to be like, oh, you're such a boomer, just stay up to date. You could text first, you could do that. Look, I understand the notion of, because just the last review episode, y'all, I was telling y'all that I'm all for making the first move. Like, I don't believe in playing the game. I don't believe in wait 3 days before you text him. And then I've been there, done that, and I just don't like that feeling. I feel like it's so juvenile. It's so immature. If you like someone, let it be known. And in the beginning of this episode, actually, Logan, the dating coach, made a great point in her comment. She said, have you ever heard of be interested, not interesting? And what that essentially means is show that you're interested in the person. Show that you actually are feeling them, that you're vibing with them. Make that be known. Don't just hide behind this whole hard to get, or I'm gonna play the game, or I'm a woman, I can't let you know how I truly feel. And even that whole notion of you gotta make sure the guy you're with likes you more or loves you more than you love him. Like, what are we talking? If you love him, you love him. Why are we measuring the quantity of someone's love? It's just so silly. I feel like even in this day and age, no matter what age you're in, there is this temptation to play the game. And in some respects, it's all right, I guess, just to be funny, or I could go on and on about that. But let's move on with the next part of this episode. All right, so now we are back with Suzanne, actually. We're here with Suzanne. We're at her house, and she is grilling, her daughter, Allison, is grilling these turkey burgers. First of all, she's giving her mom a hard time for deciding to have turkey burgers instead of beef burgers. But, y'all, these turkey burgers, if you don't watch any other episode in this season of this show, go ahead and watch this episode just to watch those turkey burgers grill. They were the juiciest turkey burgers I've ever seen. I've never seen turkey burgers that juicy. Like, I never thought it was even possible to have juicy turkey. But, sometimes with like non-beef burgers, whether that's a veggie burger, a plant-based burger, turkey burger, it's just really bullshit burgers. Like, oh, man, what the fuck is this? Damn, I know I'm trying to be healthy, but what is this? What the fuck is this? No, these turkey burgers, nah, this is it. I want to eat every one of those burgers that were grilling on the damn grill. They look good. Look damn good. Anyway, so they're talking about the dates that she's been on. She's letting them know that the first date, Frank, though he's a nice guy, she's not interested in pursuing and continuing anything more. And she wants to keep it quote unquote professional. And as for Avery is someone who she is more interested in. She feels a strong chemistry with him. She's curious about where things could go. But she said that she does have her reservations. And you know what she said for those reservations? The reservations are because he's in Alabama. He's a Bama fan. Like, girl, and she's this whole big dogs, Georgia dogs, grill dogs, bulldogs. Girl, you are 63. Like, I get it. You were enrolled at Georgia University or University of Georgia when Thurgood Marshall? I don't know. No, Herschel Walker. When Herschel Walker won the bowl. But ma'am, it's been 55 years. Let it go. So Pam is back, and she is getting ready for her second date. Now that she has popped her cherry on the first date of this experience, she feels less nervous and is ready to go. She is getting dressed and ready for her second date with her granddaughter. Her granddaughter is helping her get dressed, pick out outfits, put some makeup on, and it's a very cute, wholesome moment. Just a reminder that she is to be interested, if she's interested, rather than interesting. And I love that phrase. I think it really speaks to just the role that a woman or anyone else really could play, man or woman could play when they're meeting someone. Show that you have interest, show that you are just not a big personality, but that you're engaged in the conversation and that you actually want to learn from the other person. So that's that. Now we get into Anise. Anise is sitting with her daughter in her home. And look, her daughter, I could see how one could say she comes off as if she has an attitude, but I think she just has a dry sense of humor. And I don't know if she understands, or I don't know. I feel like she doesn't really like to see her mom in her fullness when it comes to her dating. I feel like she gets uncomfortable. And that's fair. I give her that, because I could only imagine I may be a little uncomfortable, like seeing your mom talk about what attracts her to a man, and yeah, that might be weird. But I feel like her daughter, I don't know, so she got a little tooed. So anyway, Anise is about to head on her next date, and this date is going to be with a white man. Drum roll, please. Yes, a white man. And she's a little like not apprehensive, but just like, well, I don't know what the word is for this expression here, but the point is she's a little she's excited or feeling just adrenaline rushing through her bones because she doesn't often go on dates with white men. Now, she did say she has dated a few, maybe spoken to, I don't know, because it seems like she doesn't regularly date them, because why even bring that up as a point of anything if you are used to dating white men too, right? Anyway, she makes a point to say that when her daughter was younger, her daughter had a crush on a white boy, and Anise said, okay, you can have this little fling with this white boy, but you're going to bring me home some black babies. Now, what's so funny about that is black women, and my mom did this as well. We have a tendency of being so loyal to, we need to keep the black race as such. And I love that. I really do. I find that to be so amazing. But I do find it unfortunate that black men don't have that same energy. Like, I don't hear black men I've never heard any stories of black men sharing that, yeah, my son brought home for his first girlfriend a white girl, and I was apprehensive about it. Boy, son, you better, I know you want to have this little fling, but you better cut that out before things get serious, because I want to have some black babies. Like, black fathers don't say that. So I just wish there was more loyalty on that side too. Anyway, so she's about to get ready to date this white man. Okay, so we're back to Pam. Pam is on her date, her second date. She's on this date with this man named Paul. Paul is 62. He is unmarried, or he's never been married, and no kids. He's a singer and songwriter. And Paul is pretty attractive. I think he's a handsome fella. He looks well, especially for his age. And they seem to be vibing really well on this date. Pam is really doing well here. And why do I say that? She's asking questions. She's not over talking him. She's really engaged. And I think that's primarily because she finds him interesting. And if I want to compare that to the last guy, I know I said Jonathan. His name was actually Robert. So my bad. The last guy, he majored in economics. He's more structural. He's more rigid in that sense. And I feel like Pam could already sense that. And in addition to what he was already sharing during the date, it probably just didn't interest her. So it was a combination of her being nervous for the first date and, the first time doing this experience, this first date, and simply not being interested in what he had to say and what he offered on this date. But with Paul on this date, she is really intrigued with what he has going on. Remember, Pam, her previous husband, he was a singer and he was one of the best. So they bonded on that. And Pam's family also is full of singers, songwriters. So that is in her blood, basically. Pam shared that she just recently stopped working. Like, she retired recently. I know I talked about that a bit earlier, but I didn't realize it was that recent. And she's having a hard time adjusting to being at home and sitting still, and it's kind of hard. And you can see that in her. Like, she has antsy, like ants in her pants type of energy. And I love Pam. I love her. I really do. But I could see how she may be struggling with adjusting to the stillness of life. So we'll see how this goes. But so far on this date, they're vibing really well. And I'm hoping for the best with them. But let's see. So we are introduced to Lori. Lori is a 57-year-old woman. She has been married, but is now divorced. And what else? She has 2 kids. She has been single for the past 15 years. She has 2 jobs. She works at a school as a behavioral specialist, something like that. And at night, she transforms to this celebrity correspondent. And she's affectionately called Rich Auntie. Now, let's talk about that. Rich auntie is typically a phrase used for black women who are not married and don't have any kids. Lori, sure, she is not married currently, but she has been married and she has 2 kids. And what are we talking about? But, I get it. I guess on the carpet, you could transform to whatever avatar you want to be. I get it. It's a cute aesthetic, yada, yada, yada. Lori, what I notice about her when she speaks, she doesn't make much eye contact. And when she is making eye contact, you could tell that she's doing her best to make eye contact. Like, she's actively telling herself, make eye contact. And that's a tick that some people do. I know I do that sometimes. Like, it could get very nerve-wracking to remain eye contact with someone, especially if you're being vulnerable about any information, right? Such as wanting to date again. So eye contact is hard. I get that. But she also has these huge chunky glasses on. Now, though the glasses are cute, it's an aesthetic, it's a vibe, and she is very big on style, and we'll learn more about that in a bit. I feel like her glasses definitely doesn't make her appear attractive. I don't know how else to put it. She just comes off too much of a homie, a homegirl, more of a friend vibe. And I think that has been a crutch for her. It seems like she is more comfortable being that role because it's safe. So anyway, I'll just get to this part. What's her name? Logan, the dating coach, finally meets with her, and Logan makes a point to say that, why don't you take those off? Take out those glasses. You are hiding yourself. And I wish Lori would have taken that advice. I wish she would have been more receptive, but she was not in that moment. She's like, no, these are going to stay. And I just feel like, okay, girl, do you want a change? This starts now. This starts right now. Anyway, but that's Lori. I want to rewind because I forgot to talk about Pam. So Pam, again, she's dating this new guy. Well, she's on this date with Paul, and they're vibing really well. She is hopeful about life now. Like, she's happy about how things are going, and I feel like I'm spoiling it. Let me not say too much yet. Okay. Anyway, let's continue with the order. Okay, I want to give a quick cautionary note here because going back to Lori said an interesting word here. She said when she comes back home from work, she pulls into her garage and she sits in her car. Mind you, the garage door is still open according to this scene. So I don't know if she's doing this all the time, but in this scene, the garage door is still open. And she's seated in her car, and she says she does this often. She'll sit in her car from work, coming home from work, and she'll sit in her car for an hour just to decompress. And though that is tempting, though that is just a relaxing moment for many of us, it's a particular thing for women to do that. I don't know why more women do that than men, but nonetheless, stop doing that. Stop doing that, ladies. I watched a video on YouTube recently of this man telling us about his homegirl who did that. She pulled up to the front of her house and she just taking a break before going into her house and continuing her day. She's probably scrolling through her phone. She's seated, she's decompressing, and this random man popped into her car. He went inside her car, like he came inside. And how did he come inside, mind you? Oftentimes, if you have a newer model car, the feature in that car allows the locks to be unlocked, allows the doors to be unlocked in the car when it sees that when you're parked and you turned off your car. So if you turned off your car, the ignition is off. If you have a newer model car, the locks will unlock. And that's just like an automatic feature. I'm sure you can find a way to change that if you want to, but that's an automatic thing. And the danger in that is if you are one of the many women who tend to sit in your car, leaving the doors unlocked, and you're quote unquote decompressing, though it may feel good to decompress, I'm sure it doesn't feel good to have a gun pointed to the side of your head because a crazy man is in your car now. So just be mindful of that. Don't do that. Get in your house, lock the doors, and then decompress, knowing that you are home safe, doors are locked, and you could calmly, safely lay down on your couch. Anyway, let's continue with Lori. Sorry about that, y'all, but I just had to say that because that was so scary. Because I've done that sometimes, and it's not the safest thing to do. So Lori tells us that there is this guy named Felton whom she has a crush on. She finds him very handsome. She loves his style, and she feels like they have a great chemistry. Now, when I take a look at Felton, I feel something else. I feel something else. Not only do I feel the friend zone, because she does say that she feels like they're in the friend zone, and she's hoping through this process that she could better navigate how to get out of the friend zone. And I just feel like, look, you are fit. What? She's 57. What do you mean friend zone? What are we talking about? Like, I feel like at a certain age, these terms should not apply to you anymore. You gotta be out of your mind. You don't know how to navigate, how to initiate your feelings to someone. You don't know how to stand on your toes and be like, I like you. What we doing? Do you like me? Yes, no, okay. And go from there. What do you mean friend zone? What are you like going off of? Like, it's just so silly to me. Like, oh, I'm just gonna wonder and hope that he likes me and date. Go for it. What are we talking about, Lori? Anyway, Lori is at this event, or we see this is a brief clip of one of her social events that she's a part of, because that's part of her second job as a celebrity correspondent. And in this space, there's a lot of, it seems like they're influencers. They're dressed very loud, if you know what I mean. Loud colors, prints, just boldness in their appearance. And I don't know. I feel like, and same thing with Felton. I'm saying fruity and slip, huh? He's giving me a vibe that I don't know if he's on the same, you know what I mean? Like, if he's really on that same flow. If pick up what I'm putting down, okay? Pick it up. He's one of those men who, and there's another man on the show, we'll get to that when that time comes, but he's one of those men who is pretty popular on social media. I don't know if he is popular on social media necessarily, but he is one of the men who has the aesthetic that is. And what I mean by that is there's a group, there's a demo of older black men who specifically wear these heavy hats. These, like, you know how Cam Newton wear those hats and he wears them pretty much every time you see him? There are men 50 and above who wear those same hats and different decor, different style, and they would have beards. So you gotta have two things at the same time: those big hats and a beard. And preferably the beard is gray. So what they're doing here, and then typically they're in shape, they're wearing very crisp suits, and they look very well-to-do. And they're posing or looking like a model. It's just so, I've never been into metrosexual type of men. And I feel like borderline something else is going on. But, it's your business, whatever. But anyway, that's the type of man Lori likes. So I'm like, to each their own, child. To each their own. So to wrap up Pam's date with Paul, they're vibing really well. Paul asked her for her number. Pam said a comment like, will you take this rose and give me a second date? Or no, will you take this rose and see me again? And he's like, why wouldn't I see you again? I don't know. He said some things that gave the impression that he was into her. And maybe he was. I'm kind of spoiling him for y'all. But later on, he kind of just disappears. So maybe he was all game Who knows? But the date was really nice for what it was worth. And Pam, being the free spirit that she is, she kisses him. She gives him a peck on the lips. And it was so sudden. It was such a surprise. You could tell Paul was taken aback, but he smiled and it seemed like he liked it. But he just went, they just departed, But the date was fine for what it was. What's her name? Pam spoke to Logan afterwards and was like, yeah, the date went really well. I liked him and I hope to see him again. So we get back to Lori. Lori is visited by Logan. Logan is, with her journal and pen, taking notes as she is asking Lori what do you want? What do you want from this process? What do you look for? Yada, yada, yada. And one thing I noticed from this little moment here is Lori said it's just her and her kids, because Logan asked, so what about your family? Like, tell me about Lori. And Lori just says, it just, she paused. She frowned her mouth. Her face kind of scrunched up, and she looked up and was like, or she looked down actually, and said, it's just me and my kids. So that made me wonder, is there a backstory there? I know she got divorced, but dang, like, is she an only child? Are her parents deceased? Does she have any cousins? Or is all of her family living far away? Like, what is going on? Because eventually her kids will move or be further away from her. I don't know if they both live in her house, but I just feel like that was kind of sad. And I wonder if that plays into a part into who she is currently. Anyway, so she talks more about her glasses because she is propositioned about that by Logan, because Logan is like, she feels like the glasses is making her come across unapproachable, and especially if Lori wants to move away from the friend zone thing, then you might want to move away from wearing those glasses. Lori's defense is, well, she sees it as a statement piece and she's not getting rid of them. And, she's big on style. She has a stylist, actually. Lori has a whole stylist. And, I guess so. But, yeah, so she's not getting rid of it. And I feel like that's just a testament to where Lori is in this process and how she is not willing to budge. She is comfortable and she wants to remain as such. And if it takes wearing these thick old glasses, then so be it. So be it. Lori is in her home right now, okay? We're gonna talk about this quick moment here. Lori is seated at her table across her son. And she asks her son, what do you think I need from a partner? Her son's saying, you just need someone who could take control and, you have a big personality and you need someone who could better match that. And then Lori had the nerve to ask her son, would you date me? Right? Like, if we weren't mother and son, am I someone who you would date? What is going on? Is Lori okay? I just don't understand these. I don't know. Some mothers and their sons. I feel like the police need to be called. That's weird. That's a weird question to be asked of your son. Why would your son even look at you that way? Even, I don't care if it's a hypothetical. No. Arrest her. Okay. And so we wrap up this review episode with Anise starting her date with this white gentleman. He is actually British. So she was a little surprised with that. And we'll see how this turns out in our next review. Thank you so much for listening, you all. Make sure you are liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, telling a friend to tell a friend. All of that. Thank you so much. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace.